So welcome everyone who is watching this video and this call. My name is Chandra and I am here with Britta, who is one of the CEOs, founders, main facilitators, mama of Core, basically.
Core mama.
And yeah, Core Mama, exactly, our Core Mama. But we wanted to hop on today to specifically speak about starting your year spacious and learning how to be again. And we felt like this was such a ripe conversation, especially as we, near the very end of 2020 and begin 2021, especially in such a weird and tumultuous time. This is probably a really rich topic any year, but I feel like it's especially potent right now with what we're all going through with COVID and the world and all of it. So thanks for joining me today, Britta. So first, I think, my question for you is, what is it that you are noticing people are kind of struggling with right now around spaciousness, around learning how to be? What are you noticing around like people are kind of going through right now?
Yeah, I think we're really losing the capacity to be all over the place. I feel like we this year, maybe more than ever, although in a way it has given us some spaciousness with the stay-at-home order. I just don't know if many of us used it well, that possible that because there was so much anxiety. So I don't feel most people, I don't think, kind of settled in and relaxed. I think there was too much anxiety and unknown for people to do that. So I'm just seeing it's more like we're just losing their capacity completely. And there's a hyperactive sense, like in people's life, like hyperactivity and anxiety and stress, or numbness. That could be the other, like sleepiness. I hear from a lot of people they're having their 4 o'clock drink, so sleepiness, numbing out, trying to come down from the stress. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something I noticed that I felt in my life was, during this time, it's like I almost have so much more time to sit at home, but I've actually filled up so much of that time with distractions, whether it's Netflix or work or checking my phone. Like my screen time went up dramatically without me being even conscious or aware of it. I definitely can feel that in myself of like having a really hard time with just, settling into the spaciousness and the trust that's there and trusting that spaciousness and allowing myself to just kind of be as I am right now. Because I think I'm almost afraid of like facing whatever emotions or things might come up as a result. So it's just much easier to go into Netflix.
Yeah.
At least that's my particular brand of it.
Yeah, mine too. And I think when you just said that, the ability to be with oneself and sit with oneself it's really a skill. It's something that most of us weren't taught, like how to be, how to sit silent, how to tune in, how to listen inwardly, and just simply be with whatever we're experiencing without, even if it's boredom or if it's something uncomfortable, right? And sometimes it is really uncomfortable. And I think for a lot of us this year, more uncomfortable stuff came up, like uncertainty and anxiety and financial stress and mistrust of all sorts of things, of the government, of the healthcare system, of our own bodies, of our neighbors with their masks on and off. And, like there's just a sense of mistrust. And I think it's just hard for many of us to sit silently or to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that is definitely something I resonate with. And I was never really quite taught that. Instead, I filled my time or like, to the very brim to try to avoid sitting with myself. I think I had so much fear if I wasn't distracting myself, what might come up. And yeah, and I think, especially with this year, I can even notice this tendency to maybe even want to like just kind of ignore, like just get on with 2021, ignore what happened, not really sit or be with it, but just like push on, move on, just keep like pushing going. And I think, a question I have for you is, what is some of the cost of this, or what do you notice about like how this shows up in people's lives, this busyness, this inability to, or just like not knowing how to sit and to be with ourselves? How is this showing up in people's lives, and what's the cost of this?
I mean, I think the cost is quite great. Like it can go anywhere from that people experience a low grade depression,
Mm,
to a full blown hopelessness, or like dread, like not wanting to get out of bed in the morning, to just keeping distracted to the point of not being able to be present anymore with our relationships, right? To actually connect with one another and have intimacy and true connection, meaningful conversations, actually being with one another. I think all that is decreasing.
mm,
And that can, in extreme cases, it can lead to real discord between people, like even separation of couples, or I've, many couples have been through a lot this year. Because it's just hard to be, if I can't be with myself, I can't be with you either. Um, or anyone for that matter. I can't be with the reality of what is, right? Like that. And the price of that is, if I cannot be with the reality, with life as it is, then I got to go into fantasy and
mm.
check out. I got to think about something else than what's here, right? I got to check out. So, and that's difficult, for example, for relationships when we're not here, not really truly present.
Yeah. And one of my questions then is, if we check out, whether it's and go into fantasy, whether that's we're in relationship or if we're even by ourselves living alone, like what's the cost of that then, of not being able to sit with and be with reality as it is?
I mean, it's a really good question. Like, what do we do with pain, right? What do we do when something's uncomfortable? Well, we check out. We're just kind of avoid it in some way, right? And that is, of course, a way to live, and many people live that way. It's just that you're then kind of not really here. You're not really available to the gifts of what life brings, right? Um, it's I think you get to the end of your life if you keep going that way, and you wonder, was I even here? Did I
Mhm.
even live? Right? Or did I just rush through and now I'm 90 years old, and where was I? Like, did I love enough, right? Did I actually love somebody? Did I let the love in, or did I just plow through? Like, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I really, that makes sense, that the cost at some point is rushing through our lives so much that we get to the end and we say, did I even really like live fully? Was I even here? Did I let in the gifts that life had to offer? And I even heard this point of like, did I love? Did I give my love freely? Did I receive love? Like something about deep fulfillment, I think that we miss, and the richness and depth that can be there with life if we're constantly pushing and rushing through and distracting ourselves
Yeah, or numbing out,
or
right? So
numbing.
there's sort of two poles that I see. One is the hyperactivity and pushing and busy, 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 and the other one is just numbing out. So Netflix watching, alcohol drinking, pot smoking, like just numb out, just sleeping, just many people just sleep. It's like, just sleep more. So you're literally missing life because you're just, of course, sleeping is great, but there's like a way to using even that to just numb out, to just not be
Yes.
here, right? Yeah.
Well, and I'll just say, yeah, and I think I'll say for myself, I've have felt this too, where sometimes I'll go through a week and where I have numbed out a lot more or worked a lot, and I'm just kind of like, what did I even do this week? It almost felt like, and I feel empty actually. If I really tune in, there's a particular emptiness that comes with that, like just a blandness.
Bland, yeah.
Like it's like bland, like fine, it was fine, but there's not like that deep joy or that there's not like a profoundness or I don't know, yeah, fulfillment or even any sort of flavor, like spice. It's just, it kind of feels monotonous even.
That's a good word. Monotonous is a good word. So the we can definitely go through life with sleep, yet like a numb. That's totally an option. Many people take that option, but you don't get to really to the things that make life most meaningful, like deep love or deep intimacy or deep insight, deep connection. Well, that's not available when we're not awake.
Yeah. So I guess for people that, do want to live a life awake, that do feel the cost of that emptiness, that blandness, that kind of monotony, or that, like, the cost of all these distractions, like what is the solution? What can we do right now?
Yeah, so I think really it comes back down to simply spending some time in silence and without distracting ourselves with being. um, the way that I know that I find the most powerful is really something like silent meditation, contemplation, like slowing down and stopping and being with what comes up as a daily practice, right? Which I'm a big proponent of, and also as like a retreat, in a retreat space where we unplug completely from
Mhm.
everything and go within and trust. Like there's something about, I always knew this. Like I was really attracted to the contemplative path and the silent meditation and even long silent retreats. And I never did it because I was terrified, like terrified of my boredom. I thought I was going to go just out of my mind with boredom because I'm a type A personality. I'm always doing something. I was like, I don't think I can make it. I don't know how these people make it. And yet I was so attracted to it. I would see these people that would do this and watch them and go like, I want what they have. I want what they have, but I don't want to face what I have to face to get there. Right. It's like, and then finally I did. But it took me a long time of resisting it. And my biggest fear was of boredom, actually, more than pain or anything, was like just to be bored. And the kind of whatever that means, like, which I don't, by the way, feel ever now. Never. I like, that's interesting. I don't even know that experience anymore, what that's like to be bored. But when I was young, I was really afraid of that. So times of contemplation, of silence, of unplugging, of retreating, and really trusting our inherent goodness. Like
Mhm.
if I just be with myself long enough, I'll get somewhere real. That's good, true, and beautiful.
Mm. Yeah, I think that that's a key quality you just said, like to trust our inherent goodness, and I think be willing to turn inward, right? And to face what's there, whether it's the boredom, the fear, you know, the the anxiety, the sadness over this year, and even or turn towards the joy, what might have been good. I could just see that it's like so much of this year, I know at least internally for me at times, has been such a, my awareness has been so focused outward, right? On doing, producing, working, or on numbing out. And even like in the news, right? There's always this focus outward. And I could just feel that pull of like, it's time to come back in. It's time to turn and like see what's here. And I could just see how that's then becomes that fertile ground for a really rich and meaningful life and a spacious 2021, because if we can actually turn towards and sit with what is and be silent and even like have a weekend of that, right? A retreat of that. I just imagine then the amount of trust that I would have throughout my whole year, like that I
Yeah.
could consistently face and turn towards and be with reality and what is, versus some fantasy or idea I have of 2021 and what it's going to be.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just such a different, I was just thinking about the two branches of the nervous system, right? The sympathetic and parasympathetic branch of the nervous system. And the parasympathetic nervous system branch is about relaxation and being. And I think we're all way too much on the other one, on the doing, doing, doing. And getting information and messages and like there's so much hyper activity, and I think we need the other one so badly. That's why we zoom out, check out, and Netflix, do Netflix or drink or smoke pot or whatever we do, because we just want that sinking state, right, where we're like, oh God, I can let go, right, I can just be.
Mhm.
We're aching for that, and there's healthy ways to get there and not so healthy ways to get there, right, but we all need it. And I just remember, like, from these silent retreats, when after a while I can feel it, like the mud is settling, and it's like, oh God, here I am, here I am, right, I'm here. And it's almost like coming home to who I know I am, but I've lost in all this activity. And it's like a hallelujah moment, right, where it's like a celebration of um, recognizing myself again. So yeah.
And just one last point, as you what you just said, like that is so much also deeper and like long lasting than a Netflix night. Than a like right than a smoking pot or drinking wine. Cause like again, I've done that and it's like I feel good in the moment, but the next day it's the same. Versus like a silent retreat and turning towards silence allows your nervous system to settle in that healthy way. Where you said some amazing things that now my mind is totally blanking on, but it's like because I just felt it, like my whole nervous, it was like a knowing of ourselves and like a trusting of that and like, oh, coming home to ourselves. And yeah, I just can't honestly think of a better way to start 2021, especially after such a tumultuous year.
Yeah,
And
come
important that,
home.
yeah, to come home.
Yeah, yeah. Because
And
really,
so,
that kind of just, I want to say one more
yeah.
thing, like who we really are is so much more beautiful than a Netflix movie. As
Mm.
beautiful as they are, and I love them. I love my little Netflix series. I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, but the real life is so much more beautiful, and who we really are. And when we really tap into that, then no matter what happens, and what happens in 2021, right, we'll be able to meet that much more gracefully and lovingly, and with more aliveness than when we're just pushing through, right? Yeah.
So if people are interested in coming home to themselves, and tapping into that sense of aliveness and vitality again too, what can they do?
They can come. Funny you asked. They can, they can come to our silent retreat course ever, first ever silent retreat, which is from January 7th through 10th. And so right at the beginning of the year, it's mostly silent. There will be some activities where there will be sound or chanting or Q&A, holistic inquiry if people choose that. So, but the whole idea is like to fully unplug and go and trust silence and trust stillness, like that there's something so alive and so beautiful in the stillness to plug into that. Oh, it's going to make that whole 2021 so much better. So yeah, and the info will be here somewhere, right? Posted somewhere in the email.
Yeah.
This is posted. The info will be there. Yeah.
Yeah, where you can go to the website, learn more, but I believe it's January 7th through 10th. So it
Yeah.
is, 3.5 days. And yeah, I'll be there. I am absolutely going to take this opportunity. Like, I am so excited. And obviously, Britta will actually be leading it. And so, yeah, if this is something you're interested in, you can learn more by clicking on the link below. But I'd love for you to join me, and I would love to sit in silence with you and do some non-silent things like chanting and holistic inquiry too. But yeah, would love to have you join us if you feel that.
Yes, me too. Me too. You deep divers, come on. Yeah,
Come on.
come on.
Well, thank you so much for listening, and thank you for being here, Britta. And if you all have any questions, you can also always email us, and we'll put that information below too. But thank you so much, and sending you all a lot of love as you complete 2020 and begin 2021 as well.
Yeah, much love.
Bye.